Awesome. Pleasure to welcome to the podcast Anthony Wilson, another Wilson goalie. This is going to be great. My favorite kind of goalies are the Wilson goalies. We're the best.
Yes,
Anthony, welcome to the
sir.
show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, awesome. Tell me about the first time you jumped into goal. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. First time I jumped into goal, I think I was probably around 9 or 10, maybe even younger. I honestly don't remember what age I was, but it was an indoor game. I was part of this indoor league, and it was during the times when like goalies kept switching out. Like each half, like a new kid on the team would hop into goal. Like I never had really a set goalie. And it was finally my turn to get in a goal. So I hopped in, and I think for the half I was in, I had a shutout because I did the first half, and I was like, all right, I might as well just stay in. And I think I let in like 1 or 2 goals the entire game. And I was like, this is kind of fun. So, obviously no one else being that young really wanted to get in goal either. So I was like, sure, I'll do it. And then it just stuck with me. And I think I've done pretty well throughout. So
Yeah. Indoor meaning like box or
no, not
no,
even
no, no.
box, just like indoor, like, yeah, it was just an
Got like
indoor
field
league.
lacrosse,
Yeah,
but
field
but
across inside pretty much.
played indoors. Yeah, it's I always loved asking that question, and a lot of times the answer is like I jumped in, I had that immediate success, right?
Yeah.
Like rarely do people jump in, get lit up as a kid, and then be like, "Wow, this is for me," right? So it always kind of
Yeah.
depends on that initial outing. What do you think gave you that initial success? Was it like just getting hit in the dome a bunch of times, or did you have like some sort of
I
background in
think like I
sports?
I think I had really good like hand-eye coordination like throughout my entire life. Like just that's I was a soccer goalie. I mean,
Mm.
also a lot of it could have to do I don't like to run, so that might have a lot to do with it also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a soccer goalie. I mean, I played golf my entire life too. I'm a pretty good golfer, so I think my hand-eye coordination is just a lot better than I think like a lot of my other aspects that like just that I have. So I think goalie was like a perfect fit for me on the lacrosse field.
Yeah. Speaking of golf, so you think being a good golfer translates into being a good lacrosse goalie?
Oh, 100%. I
Ooh.
mean, golf, I mean, a lot of it has to do with hand-eye coordination, like being able to time up your swing, like like your hands, your eyes, just swinging a golf club has a lot to do with like moving like with a goalie too, just like being able to match everything and see the ball and react and everything. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and just being able to generate that little bit of like I don't do much golfing, but like, that power and being
yeah.
athletic. And
Yeah,
there's
no, exactly.
also a huge correlation to the mental game, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm
100%. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. For being a lacrosse going golfer, I mean, it's not like it's the most individual position on the field, so like you
right.
get in your head very easily, like being a lacrosse goalie. And I think like um being able to do that in golf and the fact that I can handle both of those, I think is definitely a big strength of mine because I'm not really a big like in my head kind of guy. Like next one happens, we'll move on. So
Right. Yeah. Well, any like individual sport, I think helps prep you be a lacrosse goalie. Cause like you said, it is definitely, maybe you could argue face off, but like it is an individual position, right? And you
yeah,
sort of have to live with your mistakes. And what teaches you to do that, like golf and tennis and wrestling and these like individual sports where it's just you. And
100%.
especially in golf, like you hit a bad shot and then like you're walking, for 5 minutes where you're like, dang
Yeah.
it, it's
It's
all
like,
going
yeah,
on
it's
in
the
your
same thing
head.
goalie. Like you're waiting for the next shot. You're like, you got to forget about the last one. So
Hmm.
because there's definitely time in between the next shot. So you got to be able to get past it and be ready for the next one. So
Yeah. Now you mentioned not being a big in your head guy. Like, was that always the case, or was there some like mental training that you did to get that way?
I think I've kind of always been that way. Like I've never been like I want it has nothing to do with like I definitely care, but it's definitely like the fact that like being able to like see it like okay, like every goalie lets in goals. Like it's no one's ever
Yeah.
perfect. So you got to be able to like know that like even the ones that you know you should have had. There's tons of them throughout my entire career that I know I should have had, and like you just can't get in your head about those. You got to be like, all right. I mean, when that exact same shot comes next time, you got to be able to handle it. So
Yeah. Sometimes in youth lacrosse, though, like the kids can be downright brutal, if we're being honest, right? Like,
yeah,
kind of up till high school, where like, maybe they'll turn around and give them like the goalie like a huge emotional reaction, like, oh, come on, man, like you should
yeah.
have saved that one. What do you like? How would you recommend a young goalie handles that?
I mean, the way I would end, I mean, that's a tough question. I would say, I mean, they would never hop in goal.
Yeah.
those defenders. So I mean,
Right.
at
You
the
want to
end
get
of
in
the day,
here?
you're the one in the goal. You're the one who makes the decisions. I mean, if they want to hop in and try it, go ahead. Like, but I mean, yeah, you got to be able to handle yourself. I mean, everyone always gets emotional during games. You can't take your
Yeah.
like you're obviously going to get mad at your defense too for doing some things too. So you just got to be able to talk through it and get to the next play. So
Right. Yeah. Like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll get the next one. Right.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly,
that's what it boils down to. And they can get mad at you. And it doesn't help. At a certain point, you might have to have a conversation, but just in the moment, like, hey, I'll get the next one. We're good.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
then never take anything to heart, 100%.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Right.
people do get emotional all the time in the game. Even now in college, like the defenders still get emotional. I still get emotional on my defenders, but we're teammates and we work through it every time. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Even in college, I remember like, some short stick midi maybe would play like, a good 2 minutes of solid defense and the guy's like fading away, off balance shot, and you let that in. And that's one that you
yeah,
should have. And there's no reason that as a goalie I can't step up and be like, hey, I'll get that one next time. Great D.
yeah, no, that's exactly. I mean, that one of those happened today, like exactly in practice today. I mean, you got to be like, I scored 6 minute D midi, paid a minute of defense, then he had a turnaround jump shot. It snuck in, and I'm like, that's on me. Like that was great
Yeah.
defense. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. And then I'm also really vocal when I bail them out too. Like, hey,
oh yeah,
that you're gonna bail them out too, right? Sometimes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
That's cool. All right. So then how did you from that young age, how'd you go about learning how to make saves? Did you do like camps or clinics or get some good coaching or talk to me about that?
Yeah, so I had so many goalie coaches throughout my young, like just being young. Like I had the privilege that my dad helped me out, like get a lot of goalie coaches throughout my life. So I think that my main ones was JJ Pearl, who great goalie himself, and then a great goalie coach too, and the Goalie Smith brothers. They helped me out through once COVID happened and they kind of had their big start. I was one of their first goalies they worked with, and they definitely helped me out through COVID. Just being able to like go with people like in shooters and be able to still get shots, I think definitely helped me grow as a goalie. So, and then Rob Scher, the goalie coach for
Oh,
McDonough, was a huge help for me too. I mean, he helped me with mainly like the mental aspect and being able to handle that type of stuff. So,
awesome. Yeah. I don't know JJ. I'll have to look him up, but obviously Goalie Smith has been mentioned so many times on this
sure,
show. They've trained all the best goalies, which is awesome.
I'm sure.
And then what was his nickname? Big Stop Rob?
Yeah.
Big Stop Rob. Yeah, I love
Yep.
it. So he played at Hopkins against Tillman Johnson in like the legendary national championship game where Tillman balled out and Rob balled out as well. Like, but like he gets totally overshadowed by what Tillman
Oh,
did.
I know. His career was insane, and it definitely gets overshadowed. But
Yeah. But you mentioned he helped you a lot with the mental game. What, like, any lessons come to mind?
just mainly like talking about like I guess going to high school is definitely like especially McDonough. I went to McDonough. I mean, one of the top high schools for lacrosse, obviously,
Yeah.
and it was a huge step, like just going into that atmosphere and playing in front of pretty much all Division One guys in front of me, like on the whole
Right.
team, and then playing against MIAA. So it's definitely like something that like I needed help with, like starting because I started my sophomore year through my senior year. So I mean, it was a big step for me, and I just needed to be able to handle like slowing the game down in my head. I think on a clearing perspective too. I think like starting off, I was not a good clear. Like I'd always try and force plays that were never really there. So I think he would always help me like just make sure to slow my head down. It's never really like going back to like getting in my head about shots, but it's just like everything was moving. Like I needed to slow it down. So he definitely helped me with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of times when goalies go to the next level, right, whether that be like junior high to high school, college to pros,
Yeah.
high school to college, they talk about like the game being really fast and like, it slows down with time, right? Is that kind of what you thought is like your experience as well? Just like reps in that speed help you kind of slow the game down from a mental standpoint?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, going back to working with Goalie Smith, I mean, they had college shooters just shooting on you. Like that was kind of mainly what we did over COVID. We would just have college shooters, like some of the best that were in Maryland, just come shoot on us. And
Yeah.
I mean, that helped me out tremendously because it really from high school to college, I don't really think there was that big of a change for me from like shot speed and everything. So I think just like getting reps is definitely the biggest thing from especially guys like even if you're like 10 or 11 years old, like getting shots from like 15, 16-year-olds, like just the level up, like getting shots is going to help you in the long run, 100%.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Because then as soon as you go back to like, your
Exactly.
level of shooters, all of a sudden, like it doesn't seem as fast, right?
Yeah, I know. And I know it seems like it would definitely like suck just like seeing those much faster shots, but it's helps you out so much that it's so worth like the bigger bruises and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. And what else did you learn from the Goalie Smith guys? I'd love to chat about that a little bit if anything comes to mind.
I've learned a lot. I mean, kind of the main thing, one big thing that I think that I used to struggle with was like I used to lock my knees in like in a spread when I would be in a ready
Yeah.
stance and then yeah, I would cave my knees in like when the shot came.
Yeah.
And no one's ever really like told me that until like they helped me out with that because we would get like live shots because like it would never really happen when like other goalie coaches are like warming me up because like they weren't like that fast. But when I'm getting like the college level shots, like they would see my knees like bend in before and I would lose that like half second. It would definitely hurt me. So I think like learning that has definitely helped me. Like I mean, I still even sometimes do it today, but I like at least I know about it. I'm conscious about it, and I can fix it. And I know like if the ball goes in and that's because of it, I'll be like, yeah, that's why. So then I can learn from it the next time. So
Yeah. How do you fix that? Because that's like as a youth or a beginner,
it's
that's
it's
probably
all
number
about
one. That's
being
probably the number
it's
one issue, right?
yeah. No, I think personally for me, I think it's just being too tense. I think like being in goal and like
Hmm.
you're like everything's just so tense. Then your first move is to like just everything in. So like you need to be loose with your stance and then everything will flow much faster. So it's definitely I
Yeah.
think being too tense is the reason why my knees definitely were an issue. So
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you do that like little like sort of hop to kind of like reset your weight in your game or no?
I think I do it unconsciously sometimes,
Hmm.
but it's never really like now I think about it. Yeah, yeah, I kind of do.
That is funny because I watched so much video of lacrosse and then like I remember bringing up a video and showing a college goalie like hey talk to me about this little hop that you do and they just looked at that like looked at the video and was like I don't even know what that is like,
Yeah.
I just
No,
do it
I mean, I
naturally.
definitely like I like to play a high arc, like on like side shots, like low angle type shots, and like in
Yeah.
tight really, but like low angle type shots. I like to play a high arc. And I definitely see like if like they're from a low angle and they decide not to shoot and they pass up top, I definitely like jump back, like regain my center of control. So yeah,
Yeah.
I see myself doing that.
No,
Yeah.
the reason I say it is because I do think that's a great tactic to sort of like remove that tension. And like
Yeah.
sometimes when you're staying in there in your stance for a long time, that you're right, that tension can kind of build up. And then when the shot comes, because you're tense, like, the knees come in and the hands dropping is probably number two, maybe even number
Yeah.
one, tied for first.
Yeah.
But
No,
anyway,
100%.
I think that hop sort of relieves that tension and gets you in a good ready stance.
I
So I was
think
curious if you did.
helping me out too is definitely I think talking just gets your mind off everything.
Oh yeah.
Like be communicating on the field, like just even like saying when the ball is, even if you're not really like talking about like telling your defense what to do, just being able to communicate, like that gets my mind off of like, okay, I need to be ready for the shot. Cause like I'm always like I've seen so many shots in my life. I'm always gonna be ready for the shot. I just have to be like able to handle it. So
Yeah.
I think being able to communicate like during it has definitely helped me personally. I don't know if it's gonna help other people, but me personally, it helps me keep my mind off of doing things that don't want to do. So
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that happening quite a bit. And like sometimes too when I mean the communication piece is something that's always in your control, right? So
yep.
if you're not having a great game, like you can always communicate. And so using that to sort of get you out of that funk or out of that slump can help too. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was just, just to finish that thought of the knees buckling in. I think, so much of goalies muscle memory, right? And just the fact that they said like, "Hey, did you know that this is happening?" And once you know and you can feel it, like then I can start to do these controlled reps where I purposely don't do it, right? And kind of know what that feels like and then trade my body to do the muscle reps the right way, right?
Yep, exactly. I mean, just seeing shots is definitely the biggest thing. Like muscle memory is exactly all what goalie is. So I mean,
Yeah.
you learn something, you see 1,000 shots of it, then you should be good going forward. So
Yeah. Shots are so cool, right? I mean, so many goalies email me like, "Hey, what's a good drill for this? What's a good drill for that?" It's like
yeah, no,
shots,
I mean
shots.
that's kind of me personally. I don't really I'm not a big like drill guy. Like I don't
Right.
like pregame like goalie warm-ups, like stuff like that. And our goalie coach is like, all right, what do you want to do now? And I'm like, I don't know, let's do shots. I'll hop in with the offensive shooting, and because that's the ultimately really the thing that's gonna get you better. So
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I was interviewing Alex Reddy, the Duke goalie coach, or he's since got another job, but like he was the Duke goalie coach, right? And he's just
yeah.
like, yeah, I don't really do drills. And I'm like, what? Yeah, I don't really do drills, just like shots and different like, scenarios of shots. And I guess certainly drills can help, but like, yeah, I mean, there's that goes a lot to be said about
Yeah.
those controlled
I
reps,
mean,
right?
definitely for like if you're trying to work on like a certain type of thing, like either like in tight or stuff like that, there's definitely drills that'll help you out. But I
Right.
think
Yeah, yeah.
I think just seeing shots is definitely the best thing for any goalie. So
There you go. You mentioned playing like a high arc. Talk to me about like sort of your arc play. I'd love to hear about that.
yeah, totally. So, I mean, mainly I usually play like a regular mid arc, just 5 steps across. But I like to do it when either someone's coming like goals here, or someone's coming around X. I like to push out a little bit sometimes, and then low angle shots. I think if someone's coming down the alley and they keep like making their angles lower and lower, I think I just take one step out and like stay in the middle of the goal and make them hit the shot more so.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I did a like sort of a breakdown of Dobson's high arc. He used that quite a bit, like in the semifinals and the final game. And you're right, it's just exactly what you just said right there. Like when the guy comes out from X, especially if he turns his back, like if he does one of those question mark
yeah.
dodges
Because
and
then they see
turns
you
his
so
back.
close, and they're like, "What am I supposed to do now?" Like they either hit you or miss the goal. So
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And as the game of sixes becomes like more, popular, I mean, it's going to be in the Olympics, right? Like
yeah,
missing the goal is a huge thing, right? I
oh
mean,
yeah,
it's a turnover.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely,
So I think that like, that level of doing that, and even in college, like, they burn what 10 seconds off the shot clock. So there's some advantage there, but yeah, and they don't score. It's the main thing.
100%. I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of one of my main things. Like I'm a bigger guy, so I play that to like my advantage. Like missing shots definitely help. Like saving the ball is obviously the first priority, but if you get the opponent to who has a pretty wide open shot to miss the goal, like that has a lot to do with the goalie, like positioning and stuff like that than you think. So
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at that. They got you listed at 6'3", 200 something pound. Big dude. Big
yeah,
dude. Did you ever go,
yep.
damn, why didn't I play defense? No,
No.
goalies, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Goalies the spot.
goalie is the spot, 100%.
Yeah, love it. But how else do you use? So you mentioned, coming out on a high arc. Is there any other way that you use sort of that big frame, or if there's some other big goalies listening, maybe some tips for those specific goalies?
Yeah, I mean, you just use your size to your advantage. Like a lot of people, every goalie has a different style of play, and I think, like personally, I think my size is definitely a big part of my style of play. So I just need to use it like to my advantage to get in front of balls, like eat shots, and just like stuff like that. Like, I mean, I think I have good hands, but I don't really think my hands are the best part of my play. So I think I need to like use my other things to my advantage, which is definitely my size. So.
Yeah. Do you feel like being 6'3", you see more than average low shots? Like people think they can beat you low or no?
Yes, I think so. I mean, going in the college world, not as much as it will used to be,
Yeah.
but I think, I mean, yeah, they see like up top, they see a big frame and they're like, all right, let me just try and throw it low and see what'll happen. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, I do pretty well. Like our stat guy keeps our stats for all our games and practice and stuff like that, and I honestly do better low than I do high. So
That's what a lot of the goalies who are bigger tell me is that like, they've worked so hard on that
yeah,
aspect of their game that like, hey, go ahead and shoot low. I got
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Um, Love it. So you said your hands weren't the best part of your game. What is the best part of your game?
Best part of my game? Um, that's a good question. Personally, I don't think I really have like a set of like skills that like I harp on every single time I play. Like I try and like keep everything like yeah, I kind of just try and use everything to my like I try and just see the ball and save the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
I think my mindset's definitely my best part, like to be able to like go to the next shot and stuff like that. And like yeah, I never really like get like anything get in my head or anything like that. So I think that's definitely like mental aspects, definitely like a definitely probably one of my best
One
aspects.
strength. Yeah, I love it. Is there an element though, like that you're specifically working on right now?
Definitely around coming like I said, I was trying to play IARCs and like them coming around the crease. I think that's definitely something that I'm trying to harp on this year.
Hmm.
Um and so far in this fall is guys coming around and shooting those like runners up the hash or question mark stuff like that. I think those have been going in on me too much. So I think that's definitely something that I've been working on, and I think high arcs been try I've been trying that and a whole bunch of other things. So
There you go. All right. Talk to me about McDonough. So did you like how does it work? Are you in that school district or you're like, no, I'm just gonna go there to play lacrosse
yeah,
or
so it's a private school. So I
got
live
it.
about like 15 minutes away from McDonough. I went to Gerstel Academy, which is a small private school for my elementary and middle school. And then I went to McDonough for high school because my brother went there and he's had a great time. So I
Yeah.
went there for it. And yeah, so it was a good fit for me. Obviously, they have a great lacrosse program, so it helped me out a lot grow. And yeah.
And at that point, did you go there because you're like, I'd love to play Division I lacrosse, or
No,
it wasn't thinking about that at that moment?
no, not at all.
Oh,
Definitely not. I mean, my brother went there. He had a great time. He said he
yeah,
recommended it. So I
yeah.
definitely went for
All right. Well, when did Villanova come calling?
that. Was so September 1 hit, and I got a call from a lot. I mean, from coaches, and Villanova called. I think maybe 3 days, September 3rd or something like
Hmm.
that. And I was already like going on trips up because this was during COVID for me. So there's no really like official visits. Like you couldn't even like go talk to the coaches like in person. Everything was on Zoom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So me and my dad went on like a week trip, just going up and seeing a whole bunch of different colleges. And Villanova was the last one I came down to because I started up high north at Dartmouth and then went all the way throughout the Northeast, seeing a bunch of schools, and Villanova was the last one. This campus was beautiful. I really loved their the business school here, so I think that was one of my big aspirations was to be able to get into business school, which I'm happy I did. And yeah, I think everything worked out perfectly. So
All right. You gonna be a businessman?
hopefully one day, finance, yes, sir.
Slash goalie, right?
Yep.
Always slash goalie. Um, playing at like it's a huge lacrosse school, right? And you guys play some of the top level programs. And I imagine that like, having that experience at that level really helped you out in college. Good, right? Talk to
Oh
me
yeah,
about that if you could.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said earlier, like the shot speed I don't think really changed from high school and college for me personally, just because I've been seeing the
Beautiful.
best,
Yeah.
yeah, the best shooting on me already. Like we had so many like commits on our team throughout the whole MIAA. So I mean, I was kind of used to it all, and like the atmosphere is. I think my MIAA championship, I've had more people at that game than I think I've ever had in any college game or anything like that. So
Mm, wow. Love it. Yeah. Um, Awesome. And then, once you get to Villanova, I guess, if you're used to seeing that level of play, I mean, obviously like it increases a little bit, but or maybe a lot, but did your goalie game change at all or not?
personally, not really. Like I kind of stay the same way. I kept the same mindset, and I think that's what helped me out a lot. It was just not trying to like get too intimidated by the switch. So I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah, things change. Like the competitiveness is a lot more, especially just even in practices. Like you think every practice is a game just by how competitive it is. So, I mean, I think that was definitely a big up for me. But I mean, yeah, I don't think really nothing changed like mentally or physically.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Awesome. Let's see. Last year was your first year starting, or did you start the year
Yeah,
before that as well?
last year was my first. I redshirted my freshman year, so my
Yeah.
sophomore year was my first year starting. Yes.
Awesome. Talk to me about the year a little bit if you could, and kind of some things you learned along the way.
Yeah, of course. I mean, overall, I think for my first year starting, I thought it was pretty good. There's definitely a ton of room for improvement. But I think like growing, like especially with the defense, I mean, we have two out of the three starting defenders last year were also in my class. So I think just growing my defense is definitely a huge help for the next 2 or 3 years that goes on after this. And I mean, throughout the season, I think there was definitely their ups and downs. Like I had some really, really good games, and I also had some games that I didn't play my best in. But I think that's going to happen a lot with your first year. I mean, it's really hard to hop in there for your first year and be able to just play your best. So
Right.
I think I had a great like first year of like learning and learning like with my teammates and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Did when you're starting for your first uh time, right? Let's put, for first time starting, sometimes like in your head, you can feel like you got a short leash. Like if I'm Liam Entenmann, I've started for 4 years and I'm a senior, right? And I give up 18 goals my first game. I'm like, I'm starting the next game, right? I
yeah,
mean, right? I've earned it, right? But
yeah.
as a first year starter, maybe you don't think that way, and you did. You gave it, 18, very first game, number one. How do you get right back into it for you mentally?
I mean, it's like I said. I mean, I'm the type of goalie that can get past that mental barrier of giving up 18. Yeah, my first game, and then hopping back in and playing another top 10 caliber team in Yale, and then I mean, I think I played pretty well that game, and so I think yeah, just the mental aspect to be able to like get over that barrier. Like
Yeah.
there were shots in there that I definitely should have saved in the first game, but I mean, at the end of the day, the game's over. So.
Yeah. And you're on to the next game, right? You just
Exactly. No, yeah, 100%. I think the mental aspect is so big for goalies. I think you need to be
yeah.
able to just get past the past.
Yeah. You guys knocked off Denver in the Big East tournament. Talk to me about sort of like sticking with that theme of the mental game. Your approach, your mental approach heading into a game like that and playing the number one seed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, personally, it was just another game. I think we played them in the regular season, and I think we held up pretty well. We made some dumb mistakes the first time we played them, so that game was definitely in reach. Like the first time I played them, and we the whole team knew that going into the next time. So we just had to eliminate those silly mistakes, and I think we did a pretty good job of that. We made them make some mistakes. So
There you go. That's the key. Eliminate
exactly.
those silly mistakes, right?
Yep. Harder said than
Yeah,
done.
just careless turnovers and yeah, I love it.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, congrats on a good season, your first year. Definitely excited for this upcoming season. How's the squad looking out there?
Well, it looks good. Like I said last year, I mean, we got two of the same defenders. We graduated Reed Caldwell, one of the other defenders, which was a huge impact. But I think we're finding replacements for it. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really good season. So
Yeah, love it. Are you now like going into your second year? Would you call yourself like a big vocal guy out there? Like, is that kind of a part of your goalie game or not so much?
personally, not. I think my defense is very vocal already. I think they don't really need another person. I would say I'm kind of like the calm guy in the group. Like
Hmm.
the defenders know what they're doing. Like they've been playing defense their entire lives. Like they don't need me to tell them like, hey, you should have slid here. Like they know that. So there's really like um my aspects like if the defender like to calm them down, being like if we ever get after the game huddle and like they're saying, yo, you should have done this, like, yeah, he knows, like you just comment like next play, next play. So
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I mean, you don't have to be, there's some goalies
yeah,
who
I
excel
mean
in that role, but you don't have to,
exactly
right?
100%.
Yeah.
There's tons of goal. I mean, I if I need to, I 100% will, but I
Mm,
mean,
yeah. Do you do anything like, I mean, you talked about being really strong mentally. Is there something like really specific that you do after giving up a goal?
No,
Hmm.
I'm not a huge superstitious guy. I'm really
Yeah.
not. I mean,
Yeah.
before games, I listen to the same playlist. That's about it. Like, I don't have a pregame meal. I have nothing like. Yeah, no, I'm not superstitious really in that aspect. So
Pick the ball out of the net and next play.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of tasty jams do we got on that pregame list?
We got some Eminem,
Okay.
some old stuff pretty much. Eminem, some old Drake, stuff like that. So
Okay. All right. Yeah. Gets you in the mood.
exactly. Yeah.
Besides that playlist though, what might a pregame look like for you starting,
Yeah.
take us
So
through
for
it,
like
walk us through it.
a noon game, we get to the locker room around like 9 o'clock. We have a pregame meal, and then um, I put my headphones in, play with my stick, retape my stick, go outside on the field, throw the ball around with the other goalies, and then go in and pretty much just get my mind right before the game. And then pregame's pretty much the same thing. We go out an hour before, warm up, and then we do some passing drills, me and the other goalies, and then go to the locker room for about 10 minutes, put headphones back in, and then the whole team comes back in, and then we get back out and we do I get more shots on just to revamp the warm up, and then 4-on-3s, and then it's the game time. So
Love it. Love it.
yeah.
And you take reps in the 4-on-3s?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I know, like for some reason, I didn't like doing that. I didn't like doing that. I put the backup in for the 4-on-3s,
Yeah.
but I take a few reps, but not many when I was a starter.
Yeah. No, I got that. I
All right.
totally see that. I could totally see why, but yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like to take them.
All right. Love it, man. So the goalie, did you grow up watching a lot of lacrosse? Because some goalies like just play and they don't really, watch college lacrosse or pro lacrosse on the t on, on TV. What about you? And who did you
I
watch?
know.
And
I really don't even like now watch pro lacrosse, like, but I like watching college lacrosse. I think it's two totally different sports. I like watching college lacrosse much more than I like watching pro lacrosse. But growing up, I mean, kind of, I watched it, but like not enough to the extent. I never really had like a favorite team or anything like that. Like I just
yeah,
like watching
yeah. Did you
and
watch any
watching like
specific goalies or no?
no, I really
No.
didn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No,
Love it.
yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah, well, obviously I think college lacrosse is the pinnacle of our game right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just the best. I always try to get into the pros. I think I was more into it this season than any other season, and that's because Dobson was dominating so much, and I don't
Yeah.
know. I just like watching goalies play. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, college is way better.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously everyone has different opinions on everything, but yeah,
Yeah,
no, personally, I like watching college lacrosse way more because it's just so much more emotional in my opinion.
it's
So
true. That's
yeah.
true. Awesome, man. Well, what kind of stick setup do you use?
I use the Eclipse 3,
Yeah,
and then I use semi-hard mesh UCD semi-hard.
TD semi-hard. And do
Yeah,
you string up your own sticks?
I do not never learned how to string a stick. I really want, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
learned, but like I gave myself like a good C minus or maybe even a D plus
yeah.
talent wise. So I have others do it. Who does someone on your team do it?
Yeah, so the freshman goalie actually this year that came in, Dennis Fargione, strung my stick for the two that I have this year. So I mean,
Yeah,
he uses yeah, used to work at one of the lacrosse stores, and he strung sticks, so he knows he did what I like to do. So
nice, nice. I think you mentioned. So I told you that you're the second Villanova goalie that I've interviewed. I had Will Bitten on a long time ago. I was the last season, I guess. So it's going to be good 50 episodes ago.
yeah,
And, and he was a fifth year when you were a freshman. Anything you learned specifically from him that you recall?
yeah, of course. I mean, he helped me learn just like the in and outs of Villanova lacrosse and just like how to handle like just like specific stuff like inside like what we do in a day, like stuff like that. He helped me like hop right in, and so I didn't really miss a beat like coming in. He was really helpful, really vocal. Like he wasn't like, oh, we like have a new freshman goalie and like nothing really like we don't really have to deal with him or anything. Like, he was really helpful with like me and like um like learning from him, just the way how he played the game mentally too. He didn't really have
Yeah.
any issues of the next shot and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
think being able to follow in his footsteps is definitely been helpful for me, and I'm really happy to do it. So
Yeah. Yeah. So and this is how we do it at Villanova Lacrosse in terms of like specific on the field defensive things, or more like off the field, like, hey, don't be late to this practice
I
type
mean
of deal.
everything, but we have a saying, GTS goal or GST, goalie stick together. So I think he first day I met him, he said, goalie stick together. Like that's the saying from this team. So it was him and then Yard, the senior goalie, who was also there. They both graduated. So I had a whole new group. It was me and
Yeah.
another fifth year last year and the freshman last year. So I had like no one else. So I think that definitely helped me, like, because I was the old, like I was the veteran on the team, being my
Yeah.
first year, like starting. So I think like him helping me out, be like I just followed in his footsteps. I did the things that he did to me, like I helped that out with like the freshman and the other the fifth year that came in last year. So
Love it. Yeah. Yeah. Goalies stick together. They
yes,
do.
sir.
They do. Goalies stick together. And you welcomed in that freshman by saying, "Hey, could you string me up three new sticks? I'm gonna need those by tomorrow." There you go.
Yep.
Um, awesome, awesome. Well, good luck in the upcoming season. Oh, one very serious question. What do you think it is about being a Wilson that makes us the best goalies?
Um, it's a
It's
great
a long,
question.
long line of goalie history, right?
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
No,
There you go.
I think the names definitely got a lot to do with it. So
Go Wilsons. Go
yes,
Wilsons.
sir.
Awesome.
That's it.
Well, Anthony, thank you so much for coming on the show. Good
Yeah,
luck in
thanks
the
for having me.
upcoming season. We'll definitely be watching.
Appreciate
And
it.
yeah, if you had to leave the goalies out there with a final piece of advice, what would that be?
I mean, like I've harped on this entire podcast, just the next shot. I mean, there's never get in your head, because even like the attackmen and midfielders, if they see you slam your stick, they see you get in your head, they know they've done their job. So you need to just limit that and be able to handle um like those down periods of goals going in. Like there's going to be four or five strings of shots that might go in. You got to be able to handle that and see the next one, and then it's your turn to get hot. So
Love it. Anthony, thank you so much.
thank you for having me.